Language is very powerful. Language does not just describe reality. Language creates the reality it describes. Desmond Tutu. I came across that quote several years ago, and I spent a good chunk of time thinking about how true it is, at least for me. I mean, the words that we actually use to describe our experience, describe our reality, to think with and communicate with others really have a major impact on how we feel, how others feel, the things that we do, and what happens as a result. An example is several years ago, a friend of mine heard me say, "I have to do something." I have to is a phrase that we use all the time. I have to study. I have to make my next YouTube video. And she offered me the opportunity to try changing a single word, which is from I have to do this to I get to do this. So I get to study, or I get to make my next YouTube video. I instantly noticed how much better I get to feels in my system. I mean, saying I have to, as common as that phrase is, it kind of implies a level of force, like I'm being forced to do something I would really rather not be doing. And that might be true, but if instead I found that I use the term I get to make my next YouTube video, it has an impact on how I actually go into doing the thing that I'm about to do. And if I'm going to be doing it either way, would I rather go into it feeling like I'm being forced to do something I don't really want to do? Or would I rather go into it feeling like I get to do something? It feels like an opportunity, like I'm stepping in to do something that I have responsibility about and I'm choosing. So here's another example that comes up in intimate relationships and friendships and family a lot. It's that age-old phrase, you make me feel something. Like in the heat of the moment, for example, you're making me feel angry. Sure, that's one way to put it. It's a phrase that most of us use on a regular basis. The thing that I started noticing, if I pay attention to what that actually implies, you're making me feel this way, it implies a lack of choice. It implies that you're forcing me to feel this and I have no other option but to feel this way, even though I don't want to. You're making me do this. It kind of implies a level of victimhood in a situation. So I started playing with, rather than stating, you're making me feel this way, I would just simply say, I'm feeling angry, rather than saying, you're making me feel angry. When I just say I'm feeling angry, it feels more like it's opening the situation because I'm sharing what I'm experiencing and I'm not pinning my experience on the other person. Even if I am feeling somewhat triggered by the other person, which is totally okay, it also feels less confrontational. It feels like I have a level of responsibility. I'm feeling angry. I'm not simply saying I'm feeling this way and you're the reason why. It feels like an offering instead of an accusation. I know that if I'm in the heat of a moment with somebody, I'm going to respond very differently if somebody says, I'm feeling angry, than if they tell me I'm the one that's making them feel angry. There can be truth in both, but I'm pointing at the words that we use have an impact on how we feel, how the other person feels, and what we do next as a result. Here's another example that I get to use a lot when I talk to people about my experience of being on YouTube and sharing myself on camera. One way that I can share my experience with people is I'm working to be good on camera, which is true. I'm working to be good on camera. I could, in that same moment, instead to say, I'm working to be even better. If I just say I'm working to be good, that could potentially imply that I'm not yet good, but someday I will be. If I say I'm working to be even better on camera, even better implies that I'm already at a level that I want. I'm just looking to add even more and be even better. I just noticed that for me, I like how that feels and I like what it implies. And I'd rather move forward in my life implying things that have me feel like I'm making progress and feeling good about myself. When something difficult in my life happens, I can either choose words that imply I'm being punished or that I'm being challenged to grow. When something happens in my life that I didn't want to have happen, I can either choose words that imply the situation is unfortunate, or I can choose words that imply I'm actually curious enough to find the opportunity in this situation. It started with this process that I call catching myself in the act. The magic happens when you catch yourself in the act of saying something that might be disempowering or presupposing something that's not actually moving you forward in life, and being willing to either re-say it out loud or at least tell yourself, oh, the next time that I say that or think that, I'm going to try using I get to rather than I have to. It's not about hearing this idea and getting it right automatically. It's about progressively learning to catch yourself in the act and being willing to reframe or rephrase something and then pay attention to how it feels and what it presupposes and see if it leaves you feeling like it's moving you more towards what you want in life rather than away from it. This isn't a new idea or concept by any means. I just simply find it to be such an easy way to upgrade my experience of life. Every time I make a conscious choice to choose a word that leaves me feeling better or somebody else feeling better, I feel like it's a little win. It's like a little victory, because rather than defaulting to patterns of speech that I have because of my upbringing or because of marketing or the world that we live in, I'm making a conscious choice to be specific about the words that I'm using to program my reality and other people's reality, to use something we're all using anyway, to move my life a little more in the direction that I want it to be rather than away from it. If anything, what I'm simply trying to offer is that, in my opinion, the words that we choose to think with and speak with, because it is always a choice, have a huge capacity to create more of what we want in life or less of it. So every time I bring conscious awareness to the words that I use and pay attention to what they imply, I feel like it's another step towards creating a reality that I want for myself and others in life. And that's important to me. That's it. Thanks for joining me in this one, and I'll see you in the next one.